Hello, everyone, beautiful goddesses. And if we have any men joining us, welcome, welcome, one and all, to this sacred space. I feel like we're kind of entering a special portal today for some reason. But Tony and I are here for you and excited to spend these next few minutes with you diving in. So I'm going to turn it over to Tony to kind of ground and center us.
Yeah, so let's get grounded. Happy new moon in Pisces and Pisces season. I just want you to take a deep breath through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And I want you to slow down your breathing. Just bring your awareness into your body. And I want you to bring your thoughts to water. About the water in the air you're breathing, the water in your body. Any bodies of water by you, a lake, a river, a stream. Maybe have a glass of water near you. And just think of how water flows. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. Feel the water come out of you. Begin to see this water come down your spine. Down, down, down. Bringing you back here into this moment. It's beautiful to flow. It's beautiful to create. And just take another deep breath in. And exhale. Allowing the water to flow down, down, down. Welcome to the new moon.
Thank you. I love when it's just brief like that to show just how potent it can be in just a few seconds.
Wow. So it's so powerful when we just, become more intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a part of belief.
Mm-hmm.
Just believing that a few moments can change the next couple of hours for you.
Yes.
I think for me, that's what I had to come to like, okay, this, I can try it and I'll keep trying it. Hey, it works. Look at that.
Right. I absolutely agree. Like our thoughts are such powerful catalysts for change.
And then also just making a little bit of space for it also reminds you that you're worthy. That's kind of my way of tricking my subconscious to go against all those years of thinking I was unworthy of those few moments in the day of deep breathing. It's like, it's that simple, it's that small. And to just believe, like, okay, it really is that. I can do it. I can carve out a little bit of time. So we're now nice and grounded in water and flowing.
Yes.
Pisces new moon. So how are you feeling this new moon, JD? What?
So I was I sync my cycles with the moon, and I tend to have menstruation right around the new moon. So I was just kind of coming off of my luteal phase, that third phase or inner autumn. And so I was really feeling the kind of dreamy quality that Pisces can bring.
Yeah.
That spacey dreaminess. And so normally I would feel really anxious about that. I would feel uncomfortable. But what I did this weekend was pretty much nothing. Like I didn't ask much of myself. I just spent a lot of time alone resting. And then it felt amazing to be in this dreamy quality when I wasn't trying to force myself to be somewhere other than where I was. That self-honoring piece is so powerful.
Perfect. I love that. It's sometimes, I know for me and my experience with Pisces energy, I can get nervous about the emotional roller coaster of it. But then that's when I go back to the water and I think to flow, and to just bring the flow back into it. And my son is a Pisces, and he has really taught me how to allow the emotions. If you just allow it, it goes by quick.
Yeah.
And then you can get to the good stuff, the creative parts or the high points
Yes.
of it. And also we are in Mercury retrograde again. Yay! And I've definitely been feeling that. Um, and learning how to just once again flow. I tell you that.
Right. Go with it.
Like you have no choice. I went ahead and pulled some cards from the
Amazing.
Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck. And I'm gonna tell you guys the cards first. We have the elk, the fox, and the panther.
Mm.
This is about Mercury retrograde.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is. I think the Pisces part of this season will actually bring us all the relief that we're looking for.
Yeah.
All of the dreamy parts that comfort us, like a cloud, which is water,
Mm-hmm.
and to work with. I would even say to work with iridescent colors, purples, blues, pinks, um, things that feel like the sea, but kind of otherworldly.
Mm-hmm.
Side note, I'm not afraid of the ocean, but I feel like it's some crazy stuff in the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like we
There's
know
just
more
so
about
much of it.
space than our own ocean, which is just like, maybe Godzilla is really down there.
Right.
um, but to welcome it, just like you mentioned, the
Mm-hmm.
unknown, fearing the unknown, but allowing that dreamy space to help us. The Seeing the elk and the fox is about getting back into our bodies.
Mm.
Basic things of just getting back into our body, hydrating our body, putting the good things in our body, hugging,
Mm-hmm.
touching, um, using fabrics and things that make you feel good, using the
Yes.
oils and things like that that bring you to a state of comfort. As we go through these seasons of like Mercury retrograde, or we're transitioning politically. It's a lot of transitions going on.
Yeah.
All of us are trying to figure out how can we contribute to this world to make it a better place. A
Yes.
lot of stuff outside of our body,
Mm-hmm.
um, that really starts to deplete us
Mm-hmm.
physically. So
Yeah.
make sure you're getting your minerals in, making
Mm-hmm.
sure if you don't have time to exercise, which I understand it happens, then just try to incorporate some stretching.
Yeah.
Bring yourself back into the body. When I see those two cards, we're really being called to remember that though we are spiritual beings, we're having a human experience.
Right. And we have to honor that embodiedness. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And then the panther. Shadow work, everybody. I think a few of us might have been on some high points and felt like we've really been reaping the benefits of the shadow work, which is awesome. But
Yeah.
there's a new cycle of shadow work coming up for us,
Mm.
which Mercury retrograde is perfect for that because communication is going to be a mess anyway. So embrace it. You have a little bit more time to think, be with
Yeah.
yourself, and just allow it to flow. There are some deep foundational root chakra things that will come up in the next couple
Mm.
of weeks. So, be prepared to feel emotions you haven't felt in a long time.
Mm-hmm. And don't be afraid of it. When those things that you thought you cleared 10 years ago start to come up, just know that like healing doesn't happen linearly. It happens in spirals and layers. So
Yeah.
that doesn't mean your work wasn't validated. It just means you're going into an even deeper part of the healing now that you maybe were not ready for before.
Beautiful. That's so beautifully said.
Mm.
And so important. And it really brings me back to the Pisces energy
Mm-hmm.
because emotions are going to flow.
Yeah.
Deep, dark emotions, deep from the sea. Maybe that's why I thought of the deep parts of the ocean.
Yeah.
Things that we've been bearing. Maybe some of us, or maybe some of us have just been working on other things.
Yes.
One thing that I have learned in my new opportunities lately is that when we focus on one side, one part of our personality or our brain, our soul, spirit, whatever we like to call it, the other parts will start to fight for attention.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. It's just some reorganization of your
Yeah.
personality and who you are. And the only way to get through it is to nurture and support yourself through it.
Yeah, and allow yourself to change. The struggle comes from holding yourself to needing to be or appear or look a certain way.
That's major. Can you give me a little bit more on that? That really
Yes.
touched me. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that like for some of us, first of all, we're given so many titles, labels, roles throughout our lives, whether that's like sister, mother, shy, quiet, outgoing, athletic, artistic, creative, smart, like all of these things. And sometimes we begin to cling to them. And it's kind of like building a foundation on sand because those things are not stable. They're fluid and flowing and dynamic, and we're all of it. So maybe you tend to be more outgoing, but you're going to have some introverted days or maybe seasons of life, and that's okay. And maybe you're really artistic, but you're going to have some more like focused, logical times in your life, and that's okay. So just like honoring the all of who we are and not getting too stuck in any one aspect of it can relieve a lot of the pain of change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know for me, whenever I have experienced that, I have used my techniques to help with anxiety. 'Cause that's what would come up for me.
Mm-hmm.
When it's like, what? I'm not who I
Mm-hmm.
say I am. What do you
Right.
mean? Who am I?
Yes.
But then also recently, I've been responding to stress through kind of I don't want to say, well, it's like shutting down. Shutting down is the best way.
Yeah.
Hey, so do you have any advice for anyone out there who's on the opposite end? They're not freaking out. They're just numbing out.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the numbing out is such first of all, a normal response
Yeah.
for us when there's too much outside stimuli for us to process at once. It's like the body's just like, nope, like putting up the armor, putting on the guards, and we're just going to kind of plow through.
Yeah.
So for me, I would say, is it possible for you to create a really safe and loving space to begin to look into that, to begin to develop a relationship with that a little bit more? And I think the first step is just what you said, acknowledging it, like, oh, I'm noticing this tendency for me to shut down lately. What's that about? When is it happening? What's happening right before it? You know, is it like a pile on effect, or is it like one thing that's really triggering my nervous system? So I think when we're in fight or flight, it's hard to have that sort of curiosity.
Yeah.
So we really got to get our systems back into a parasympathetic state, a state of like rest and digest and feeling some semblance of groundedness and safety. And then we can begin exploring it and finding proactive solutions through it.
Thank you. That was perfect. So
Yeah.
as all our, everyone listening, as the shadow comes up, it's going to be really important to find ways to ground yourself
Yeah.
every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Really. And it doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be extra. You don't have to spend hours and hours sitting outside by a tree. You
Yeah.
can if you want to, if you have the
Yeah.
space to do it. But I know a lot of times it becomes overwhelming even thinking about like, how can I fit that in,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just sitting down on the floor in your room before you
Mm-hmm.
go take a shower. Or maybe it's
Yes.
using certain oils while you're in the shower that make you feel grounded. Just showing up for yourself
Yeah.
and grounding yourself and doing right now we would consider it pre-work, but hopefully in another time it's just like normal life.
Yes. And like, if you're like pining for that time, that reality, like that's a good sign that you were brought here at this time to help create it.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. Also, something I was thinking about when you brought up that you drew the elk and the fox, who are both like woodland creatures, is some
Yeah.
essential oils that can be super supportive for grounding are the wood oils. So look for
Mm.
the oils that are like tree resins, like frankincense and myrrh and copaiba, and also like Siberian fir and Douglas fir and cypress. Like those are really amazing oils to bring in.
Perfect.
Yeah, and to combine them with the like Pisces season, you can put a couple drops in your shower for like an aromatherapy experience with the water and that grounding.
I love doing that.
Me too.
That is that's the best part of taking a shower.
Yes.
It's so good. It really transports you to another place. That's what it feels like.
Completely. And like talk about proactive self-care that like doesn't take much. I mean, you do have to find high quality oils first and find like the oils that you'll trust. But then it's like you're already going to be taking a shower at some point.
Yeah.
So just add a drop of oil to that water. Like,
And it's nice to take care of yourself, but it's nice to treat yourself. It feels like a treat. You're like,
yes.
oh, this is so good. It's a good moment where it's just you and your body. And there's a point in the shower and I'm smelling whatever oil I put in there. And I don't have a worry or care in the world. I'm just feeling the steam. I'm like, this is so good. So everyone, please listening, that list that she just said, get one, high quality one, get it from JD.
Yeah.
And and use it every day. Show up for yourself every day. The little stuff counts. Let's get back to the woods because there's something in the woods for us. Yeah, you mentioned that. I really feel like it has something to do with us, transitioning seasons and coming out of the woods. I've really noticed around me more and more people are coming out of their shell, coming out of the fear, being a bit more vulnerable, mentioning things I wouldn't have expected them to say. And I sit back and I go, all right, the world could be getting better.
Yes. Yes.
It could be getting better. But when you hear that, Jay, like coming out of the woods, like what comes to you? What do you feel from that?
Well, the first thing that came to mind for me when you said that was like spot on with traditional Chinese medicine. I believe that spring, the element of spring is wood. And we're still definitely in winter, but we are moving closer to that spring equinox, we're about a month short of it. But I felt that like wood element of it. Maybe as we begin to like embrace the shadow work a little bit more, we're kind of like, it's like a paper tiger. Like it seems scary in the shadows, but then when we shine a light on it, it's just a small thing that we can just move out of our way and walk through.
It.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what it is. It was, and now after I hear you say that, I feel that we're also coming to a point where a lot of lessons that came up or shadow that came up in December, January, maybe in November, it's officially time to really feel through that stuff, think through that stuff, and come up with a way to apply what you have learned. So much of the process gets kind of lost in our mind and in conversation, and then we get into conflict or we get stressed out and we don't say anything. We just aren't able to really apply what we have learned. But in the woods, think about it. If you're surviving in the woods, you don't have a choice. You have to learn your lesson and you have to apply it.
Yeah.
And that is the way of this planet. That is how you survive and evolve.
Yeah. And you have to be so present. It's just like one moment and then the next moment. And even though that might sound like scary to us now, like, oh my gosh, surviving in the woods, creatures do it all the time and they're not in a constant state of stress. They're not. They're actually calm most of the time. And then like if they're being chased by a predator, for example, then their fight or flight turns on to help them survive. And that's how our systems are meant to be coded in that same way. So we have to maybe we're getting back to that more instinctual place within us where we know when we actually need to dial up the stress response and when we can turn it off, and learning the tools and the resources that can help us do that. So I would say like some of my favorite tools are breathing, sitting in stillness, and also using plant wisdom like essential oils to create the state that I want to be feeling. And also helping me, like they can be really powerful kind of guides through something, because I'm really a proponent of like, yes, create your state, but also honor where you're at. So of course we want to feel good all the time, but sometimes we're just not there. Sometimes we are feeling down, or we're feeling confused, or we're feeling angry. And I'm a strong proponent of like feeling those feelings so that they can share the transformational gifts that they're here to show us. And essential oils can be really powerful tools in that way too. And there's plenty of great books on it. I would recommend the book Emotions and Essential Oils. But it's also a great time to just tap into your intuition and ask yourself, like, just smell the oil. Does this feel like something that would help me right now? What am I gravitating toward? And really begin to trust yourself that your body has this innate wisdom that can guide you and how you need to be guided in any one moment.
That last statement is about bringing us back into this Pisces season, back into that energy of, living in an intuitive state where we honor the insight that we already have for ourselves. So many times, we question ourselves throughout the day, from the time we get out of the bed, we're in the car on the way to work, to, we're just like, should I do that? Should I do this? You know how to honor yourself.
Yes.
You know how to honor yourself, and allow that to come in. I do have another question as well, since in the retrograde, regardless, we're going to be triggered more. In Pisces season, we're going to feel more emotional and triggered more. And as the political scene gets, spicier and spicier, more and more triggers, and then on top of everything else going on in the world, and I'll give a suggestion too, but what do you think our listeners can do to help with the triggers, to feel okay?
I think we've got to get really strong in our self-care. We've really got to get over the belief that self-care is selfish. And we also have to get over the idea that like doing things for our energy is a waste of time, or doesn't help, or isn't real. We've really got to get over those things and really just start embracing the tools that are going to help us create our state. Because the quote that's coming to my mind is like a Yogi Bhajan quote, that be the lighthouse. Like we really have to be those beacons of light and be really strong in ourselves in these times where like the political scene, or, the world news scene, whatever you're taking in, is going to try to sweep you into its current. And you can't get caught up in that. You've got to be like strong and grounded and planted like a tree in the woods, and tapped into your instinctual nature, like the elk, like the fox, so that you can navigate that terrain and actually maybe, dance with it, flow with it, rather than getting swept up in it.
Yeah, that's good. I want to kind of piggyback on that and incorporate it on the advice I want to give. Take that information that she just gave you and begin to cocoon yourself within your self-care and the things that feed your soul. So when you are triggered, you are not dealing with these emotions from a depleted place. That's what happens a lot. We're like just depleted and we're drained, and then something triggers us, and we're already in some type of survival or anxious mode. So it can take us over. It can make us upset for hours, days, weeks.
Yes.
Go back and you're still thinking over, I could have said this, or I should have said that. So begin to cocoon yourself in the things that feed your soul. And it could really be that sometimes you like to get up in the morning and like shake your booty for like,
yes.
But it works when you do the things that bring you joy.
Absolutely.
So next time someone says something super offensive, you're like, wow, that sucks. And then you're just like, okay.
Shake it off.
I'm going to be all right. It's so important to
Yes.
um, to look at those things. So I would suggest also take an inventory of what does your day-to-day life kind of look like?
Mm-hmm.
Are you feeding your soul? Everything
Mm-hmm.
can feed your soul. It's an exchange. I'm not,
Right.
you don't have to come up with a perfect notion of life,
Right.
but there should be some balance there.
Yeah,
And if you're
absolutely.
feeling depleted, then you actually need to add extra things to the list that feed
Mm-hmm.
your soul.
Yeah, and or start taking some things off that are no's that
Yeah,
you are like consistently drained by. Um,
yeah.
there's two ways to go about it. And something else that came to my mind as you were speaking too is to really get in touch with ourselves in a time when we have 24/7 access to everyone else. And
Mm-hmm.
part of that can be like taking breaks from social media or just being very intentional with how you relate to it, because it's so easy to get swept up in everybody else's energy there. So
Yes.
it's so important
Yes.
for us to be like, is that actually what I think, or am I just getting swept up in that
Oh
energy?
my goodness. So, recently Jay and I we're trying to schedule for us to record, and we usually talk through Instagram, and I had to take a break.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say initially I had some guilt
Mm.
because I run my practice through Instagram. I meet amazing clients. You guys can still come message me and schedule
Yeah.
with me, Parks Holistic Health. Um, and so in the moment when that other part of me, the survival part of me, the anxious part of me, goes, well, we got to be there. We got to talk to people. We got to do this and that.
Right.
And then my higher self is like, you deserve a break.
Yes.
So for anyone who is operating business through social media or any type of calls, anything that's really close to your heart,
Mm-hmm.
and you're using social media for that, I welcome you to open your heart to know that you deserve
Mm-hmm.
you deserve the same amount of love that you're giving to everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And if being too tuned in is sucking your energy out, take a break.
Yes.
Take a break.
Take a break. It'll be there.
It's not going anywhere.
Exactly.
Nowhere. And I felt so good after my break. I'm still trying to get myself back
Mm.
into it. It's
Yes.
nice.
That's amazing.
Oh gosh. That's for another episode for us to discuss social media, and
Yes.
the the changes are all happening
Oh my
so
gosh.
fast. And actually, so listeners, during this retrograde, during Pisces season, I would say be careful. Be careful on social media. Um, you're gonna be triggered.
Yeah.
There's just no doubt. I was already triggered last night. You go in the hole of social media and you're like, oh wow, this is the world.
Yeah. So really like come back to the practices that we were sharing, or, take what works for you, leave the rest, but approach it with intention
Hmm.
so that you're not in a reactive state.
Yeah. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Approach it
Yeah.
with attention so you're not in a reactive state. And that is the message for this season. And that's going to get you through Mercury retrograde.
Absolutely.
Be intentional with your energy, be intentional with your heart and your soul.
And let your triggers teach you, because they have lessons for you.
Yes. Big lessons.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, it was so amazing to connect with you all in this space. You can find me at JD Ingles on Instagram. Always, if you have any questions for us or you want us to address a specific topic on the podcast, we would love your input. So you can reach out to me, jdingles@gmail.com. And where can we find you, Tony?
You can find me on Instagram at Parks Holistic Health. You can also reach me at parksholistichealth@gmail.com, parksholistichealth.net. Love to hear from you guys. Love to hear anything you guys want us to discuss. And of course, Jay and I are both really excited to help you one-on-one
Mm-hmm.
to fulfill your highest potential, to help you live your destiny.
Absolutely. We love you guys. See you next time.